The first text that caught Maya Adams's attention in her overflowing inbox wasn't a wedding inquiry, but a request that would change her life forever. Looking for discreet, exceptional event planner for Mother's 40th anniversary budget unlimited. Maya sipped her morning coffee, cursor hovering over the mysterious email. After 6 years of building her boutique event planning company from nothing, she developed an instinct for which clients would be worth her time. This one practically screamed potential. Unlimited budget. "That's either spam or someone I need to meet immediately," she murmured, setting down her mug to type a professional response. 3 days later, Maya found herself driving through imposing iron gates toward one of the most magnificent estates she'd ever seen. Nestled in the rolling countryside just outside of Boston, the York family compound sprawled across what had to be at least 50 acres. Perfectly manicured gardens surrounded a sprawling stone mansion that looked like it belonged in an architectural magazine. Maya checked her appearance in the rearview mirror, smoothing her chestnut hair and straightening her blazer before stepping out of her modest sedan. She felt underdressed, despite wearing her most professional outfit, a tailored navy suit and cream blouse that usually impressed clients. A silver-haired woman in an impeccably tailored pantsuit emerged from the grand entrance. "You must be Maya Adams. I'm Millionaire York. Thank you for coming all this way." "Mrs. York, it's a pleasure," Maya replied, extending her hand. "Your home is absolutely stunning." "Thank you, dear. It's seen 40 wonderful years of marriage, which is why we're meeting today." Alina's warm smile put Maya instantly at ease. "Please follow me. We'll talk in the sunroom. My son Connor might join us later. This celebration was his idea after all." Maya followed Alina through hallways adorned with what she recognized as museum-quality artwork. The sunroom offered breathtaking views of the gardens and a distant lake. "So," Alina began once they were seated with tea, "my husband Philip and I will be celebrating our 40th anniversary in 2 months. Our son wants something spectacular but intimate. Only about 100 guests, family, and our closest friends." Maya nodded, already taking notes. "And what's your vision for the celebration, Mrs. York? Please call me Alina," she insisted. "Philip and I met in Paris in the spring of 1983. It was the most romantic time of my life. I'd love to somehow recapture that feeling." "A Parisian spring theme would be beautiful," Maya suggested. "We could transform your gardens into a Parisian paradise." Alina's eyes lit up. "That sounds perfect. Philip would love that. We've returned to Paris many times over the years." They spent the next hour discussing details, and Maya found herself genuinely enjoying Alina's company. Unlike many wealthy clients who treated her like a servant, Alina was warm, funny, and treated Maya as a collaborator rather than hired help. "Mother, sorry I'm late." A deep voice interrupted their conversation. Maya turned to see a tall man with dark hair entering the sunroom. Her breath caught in her throat. Connor York was not what she'd expected. In her experience, sons of the ultra-wealthy tended toward either polished playboys or entitled brats. This man was neither. His steel blue eyes crinkled slightly at the corners as he smiled at his mother, revealing laugh lines that suggested he smiled often. He wore a simple but clearly expensive charcoal suit that fit his athletic build perfectly. His strong jaw was covered with just enough stubble to look intentional rather than neglectful. "Connor, perfect timing. This is Maya Adams, the event planner I was telling you about." Connor turned his attention to Maya, and she felt an unexpected flutter in her stomach as those penetrating blue eyes assessed her. He extended a hand. "Miss Adams, I've heard impressive things about your work." His handshake was firm, his hand warm against hers. "Thank you, Mr. York." Your mother has been sharing some wonderful ideas for the anniversary celebration. Please, it's Connor. His voice had a gravelly quality that made Maya want to keep him talking. This party means a lot to me. My parents deserve something extraordinary. Maya nodded, trying to maintain her professional demeanor despite the unexpected attraction she felt. I completely agree. We're discussing a Parisian theme to commemorate where they met. Perfect. Connor took a seat beside his mother. Dad will love that. He still talks about how he spilled coffee all over Mother's white dress when they first met outside that cafe near the Seine. Eleanor laughed, and then insisted on buying me a new dress, which led to our first date. Maya watched their interaction, touched by the obvious affection between mother and son. In her line of work, she'd seen plenty of dysfunctional wealthy families, but the Yorks seemed genuinely close. Maya has some wonderful preliminary ideas, Eleanor told Connor. I think she's exactly what we need for this celebration. Connor studied Maya with an intensity that made her cheeks warm. I trust your judgment, Mother, but I'd like to be involved in the planning process as well, if that's acceptable, Miss Adams. Of course, Maya replied, wondering why his request made her pulse quicken. And please call me Maya. Excellent. Connor's smile was brief but transformed his serious face. I have some specific requirements for certain aspects of the event. Perhaps we could meet separately to discuss those. Before Maya could respond, Eleanor stood up. Perfect. You two work out the details. I need to call Philip. He's in London on business and will be thrilled we're making progress. After Eleanor left, an awkward silence fell between them. So, Maya began, shifting slightly in her chair. You mentioned specific requirements. Connor leaned forward, his expression serious. Yes. There are certain elements of this celebration that I'd like to personally oversee, security for one. My father's position makes certain precautions necessary. Maya nodded, remembering what little research had told her about Philip York, founder of York Global Investments, a venture capital firm with holdings in everything from pharmaceuticals to sustainable energy. His net worth was estimated in the billions. Of course, I'm accustomed to working with security teams, she assured him. Good. Connor studied her for a moment. There's something else. The anniversary party is only part of what I'm planning for that weekend. Maya raised an eyebrow. Oh. Yes, but I'd like to keep that between us for now. My parents don't need to know all the details. A surprise element, my guest. I understand. Client confidentiality is something I take very seriously. I appreciate that. Connor reached into his jacket pocket and handed her a business card. Call my private number to set up a meeting. We should discuss this further without my mother present. Maya took the card, her fingertips brushing against his. I'll call tomorrow to arrange something. Perfect. Connor stood, towering over her. I look forward to working with you, Maya. As Maya drove away from the York estate, she couldn't help but feel that she'd just accepted more than just another high-profile job. Something about Connor York intrigued her in a way that felt dangerously unprofessional. Her assistant, Zoe, was waiting at their small office space when Maya returned. So, are they as rich as they seem? Did you get the contract? Zoe bombarded her with questions the moment she walked through the door. Maya dropped her portfolio on her desk. Yes and yes. The Yorks want a Parisian-themed 40th anniversary celebration. Mrs. York is lovely and Mr. York Sr. is currently in London. And, Zoe prompted, sensing there was more. And their son Connor will be heavily involved in the planning process. Zoe's eyes widened. Connor York. The Connor York. Oh my God, Maya. He's like Boston's most eligible bachelor. Is he? Maya feigned ignorance, though her internet search before the meeting had revealed exactly that. Don't play dumb. He's gorgeous, brilliant, and set to inherit the York fortune. Plus, he runs their charitable foundation and has never been caught in a single scandal. Zoe pulled up a magazine article on her phone. See, Boston's billionaire Prince Charming. Maya glanced at the photo of Connor in a tuxedo at some charity gala. He looked even more handsome than in person, if that was possible. He's a client, Zoe. That's all. A client who's never been successfully linked to any woman for longer than a few months. Zoe wiggled her eyebrows suggestively. Stop it, Maya laughed. I'm planning his mother's anniversary party, not dating him. Yet, Zoe teased. Maya threw a crumpled paper at her assistant. Let's focus on work. We have a major event to plan and only 2 months to pull it off. For the next week, Maya immersed herself in research, creating mood boards and preliminary budgets for the York anniversary. She found herself growing increasingly curious about Connor's additional plans for the weekend, but he hadn't responded to her email suggesting meeting times. Then, late Friday afternoon, as she was preparing to leave the office, her phone rang. Maya Adams speaking. Maya, it's Connor York. Her heart skipped at the sound of his deep voice. Connor, hello. I was beginning to think you'd changed your mind about our meeting. Apologies for the delay. I've been in Singapore closing a deal. Are you free for dinner tonight? We could discuss the event. Maya hesitated. Dinner felt suspiciously like a date rather than a business meeting. I typically meet clients during business hours, she said carefully. I understand, but my schedule is rather compressed. I'm flying to Berlin tomorrow evening and won't be back until Tuesday. There was a pause. We could meet at my office now if you prefer. I'll order in food. That seemed more appropriate. That would work. Text me the address. I'll send a car instead. Where are you now? 30 minutes later, Maya found herself being ushered into the York Global Investments headquarters downtown. The sleek building occupied prime real estate with views of Boston Harbor. Connor's executive assistant, an efficient woman named Janet, led Maya to his corner office on the top floor. The space was impressive without being ostentatious floor-to-ceiling windows, modern furniture, and surprisingly personal touches like family photographs, and what appeared to be children's artwork framed on one wall. Connor rose from behind his desk when she entered. He discarded his suit jacket and rolled up the sleeves of his crisp white shirt, revealing strong forearms. Maya, thank you for accommodating my schedule. He gestured to a seating area where containers of food were already arranged on a coffee table. I hope you like Thai. I love it, she admitted, settling onto the comfortable sofa. Connor sat across from her, immediately opening containers. I ordered a variety since I didn't know your preferences. Maya was touched by the thoughtfulness. Thank you, that was considerate. As they served themselves, Connor got straight to business. I've reviewed your preliminary proposal for my parents' anniversary. It's excellent. Thank you. I've just started developing the concept. I particularly appreciate how you've incorporated personal elements of their story rather than just creating a generic Paris theme. Maya smiled, pleased that he'd noticed those details. The best celebrations reflect the people they are honoring. Your parents have a beautiful love story. They do, Connor agreed, his expression softening. 40 years and still madly in love, it's something to aspire to. You're close to them, Maya observed. Very. They've set the standard for what I want in my own life. He looked at her directly. What about your parents? The personal question caught Maya off guard. They divorced when I was 12. Both remarried. We're civil at holidays, but nothing like what you describe. Connor nodded, not offering platitudes, which Maya appreciated. And how did you get into event planning? I started helping plan fundraisers in college. I was pre-law, actually. But I discovered I had a knack for organizing meaningful experiences for people. She took a bite of pad thai. After graduation, I worked for a large event company for a few years before starting my own business. Impressive, Connor said. Taking that entrepreneurial leap requires courage or foolishness, Maya laughed. There were some lean months at the beginning, but you persevered. Now you're the go-to planner for Boston's elite. Maya raised an eyebrow. You've been researching me, of course. Connor didn't look apologetic. I research everyone who works with my family. And did I pass your vetting process? A small smile played at his lips. With flying colors. Stellar reputation, discreet, creative, and by all accounts unflappable under pressure. High praise. Well earned from what I've seen. Connor set down his fork. Which brings me to the other matter I wanted to discuss. Maya straightened, returning to her professional mindset. Your additional plans for the anniversary weekend. Yes. Connor hesitated, then reached for a folder on the side table. What I'm about to share needs to remain completely confidential. Of course. I'm not just celebrating my parents' anniversary that weekend. He handed her the folder. I'm also planning to propose to someone. Maya felt her stomach drop unexpectedly. Of course a man like Connor York would be in a serious relationship. She opened the folder, finding sketches of what appeared to be an elaborate proposal setup. I see, she said, keeping her voice professional despite her inexplicable disappointment. You want to incorporate your proposal into the anniversary celebration, in a way. Connor studied her face. The anniversary party is Saturday evening. I'm planning the proposal for Friday night as a separate event, but I need someone who can coordinate both seamlessly. And your girlfriend doesn't suspect anything. The word felt strange in her mouth. Connor's brow furrowed. Girlfriend, the woman you're proposing to, Maya clarified. A slow smile spread across Connor's face. I don't have a girlfriend. Now Maya was thoroughly confused. But you said you're planning to propose. I am. His eyes held an enigmatic gleam. Sometimes when you know, you know. Maya set down the folder, feeling increasingly uncomfortable. I don't understand. You're planning to propose to someone you're not dating. Connor laughed, a rich sound that made her heart flutter despite her confusion. I'm sorry, I'm not explaining this well. The proposal plans are aspirational. I have someone in mind, but we're not officially together yet. I'm hoping that will change soon. That's... Maya searched for the right word. Unconventional. I know it sounds strange. Connor leaned forward. Let me be more clear. I believe I've met the woman I want to spend my life with. The anniversary weekend provides the perfect backdrop to begin that journey. These are preliminary ideas for when the time is right, which I hope will be that weekend. Maya nodded slowly, still confused but deciding not to pry further. All right, and you need me to help plan both events. Exactly. Can you handle that level of complexity? Of course. Maya's professionalism took over. Though I'd need to know more about what you're envisioning for this aspirational proposal. I'll share those details as we get closer and I'm more certain about timing. Connor's expression turned serious again. For now, let's focus on the anniversary. My mother mentioned you'll need to visit some potential vendors this week. Maya allowed the subject change, relieved to be back on familiar ground. Yes, I've scheduled appointments with florists, caterers, and rental companies that could provide the Parisian-style furnishings we discussed. They spent the next hour reviewing her plans and budget. Working with Connor was surprisingly easy. He was decisive, insightful, and genuinely interested in creating something special for his parents. As their meeting concluded, Connor walked her to the elevator. I'll be back from Berlin on Tuesday. Would you be available to meet again next Wednesday? Perhaps we could visit some of those vendors together. Of course. Maya tried to ignore how much she was looking forward to seeing him again. "I'll email you the schedule." "Perfect." Connor pressed the elevator button for her. "I've enjoyed this evening, Maya." "So have I," she admitted before she could stop herself. As the elevator doors closed between them, Maya released a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Connor York was dangerous not because he was difficult or demanding, but because working with him didn't feel like work at all. Over the next few weeks, Maya found herself spending more time on the York anniversary than any other event in her calendar. Connor had returned from Berlin and immediately immersed himself in the planning process. They visited vendors together, debated color schemes, and once spent an entire afternoon taste testing French pastries. Each meeting blurred the line between professional and personal a little more. Connor always asked about her day before they discussed business. He remembered details she mentioned in passing: her coffee preference, her favorite flowers, the novel she was reading. Sometimes their fingers would brush when reaching for the same sample, sending electricity through her body. Yet he never crossed any obvious boundaries, leaving Maya wondering if she was imagining the connection between them. One rainy afternoon, in late April, they were meeting at the York estate to finalize the outdoor setup. Alina had gone to New York for the weekend, giving them free rein to measure and plan. "If we position the main tent here," Maya indicated on her diagram, "guests will have the perfect view of the gardens while being protected from any weather issues." "Good thinking," Connor agreed, studying the layout. "April in New England is unpredictable." A crack of thunder punctuated his statement, followed by a sudden downpour that intensified the rain already falling. Connor glanced at the windows. "Speaking of weather issues, it's really coming down. We should wait it out before you drive back to the city." "I don't want to impose," Maya began, but Connor was already shaking his head. "Nonsense. Let's continue our planning over dinner. The staff prepared something before they left for the evening." Maya raised an eyebrow. "The staff is gone." "Is that a problem?" Connor asked, his expression unreadable. "Not at all," Maya said quickly, ignoring the flutter in her stomach. "Dinner would be lovely." Connor led her to a more casual dining room than the formal one she'd seen on her first visit. This space was warm and inviting, with a round table and comfortable chairs. "This is where we eat family meals," Connor explained, disappearing briefly into the kitchen. He returned with a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. "My father collects wine, but this is from my personal favorite vineyard in Bordeaux." As he poured, Maya glanced around the room, noticing family photos on the walls: Connor as a child with his parents, Connor graduating from college, family vacations over the years. "You're an only child?" she asked. "Yes, my mother had complications during my birth that prevented her from having more children." Connor handed her a glass of wine. "I always wished for siblings growing up, but my parents made sure I never felt lonely." Maya sipped the wine, which was exquisite. "My sister and I fought constantly as teenagers, but now she's my best friend." "That's nice." Connor disappeared into the kitchen again, returning with plates of what looked like homemade pasta. "I hope you like carbonara. It's one of the few dishes I can make properly." Maya stared at him. "You cooked this?" "Don't look so surprised," he laughed. "I lived alone during college and grad school. I can manage basic cooking." "I didn't expect a billionaire to cook his own dinner," Maya admitted. "Technically, my father is the billionaire." Connor sat across from her. "I work for my money." Maya gave him a skeptical look. "As the executive vice president of your father's company." "A position I earned after getting my MBA and working at Goldman Sachs for 5 years, Connor countered. "I started in the mailroom of my father's company when I was 16. He made sure I understood the value of hard work." Maya took a bite of the pasta, which was delicious. I'm impressed, both by your work ethic and your cooking. High praise from a woman who built her own company from nothing. Connor raised his glass to her, to hard work and its rewards. Maya clinked her glass against his, feeling warmth that had nothing to do with the wine. As dinner progressed, their conversation drifted further from work. Connor told her about his time studying abroad in Japan, and Maya shared stories about her disastrous first event when the bride's mother fired her, rehired her, then fired her again, all within 24 hours. "How did you handle that?" Connor asked, refilling their glasses. "I kept showing up and doing my job until they realized they needed me," Maya laughed. By the reception, the mother was telling everyone I was a miracle worker. Persistence. I admire that. Connor's eyes held hers a moment longer than necessary. The rain continued to pound against the windows, creating a cozy atmosphere that made Maya forget this was supposed to be a business meeting. After dinner, Connor suggested they move to the living room where a fire was already burning in the fireplace. "This is my favorite room in the house," he told her, settling onto a comfortable sofa. "My father would read to me here every night when I was a boy, no matter how late he got home from work." Maya sat beside him, closer than she would have in a professional setting. "Your parents set a wonderful example." "They did." Connor's expression grew thoughtful. "That's why this anniversary is so important to me. Their marriage is the foundation of everything good in my life." "You really believe in marriage," Maya observed. "I do." Connor turned to face her more directly. "Don't you?" Maya considered the question. "I believe in love. Marriage is more complicated." "Because of your parents, partly," she admitted. "And partly because I've seen too many couples focus on the wedding but forget about building a life together." "The hazard of your profession, I suppose. You have no idea. I once had a bride call off her wedding because the groom suggested they cut the dove release to save money for their honeymoon." Connor laughed. "I promise never to suggest cutting the doves at our wedding." The casual comment hung in the air between them. Our wedding. Had he misspoken, or was he flirting with her? Maya changed the subject. "Speaking of birds, have you decided about the aviary for your mother's celebration?" The French garden theme would work beautifully with songbirds in decorative cages. Connor seemed to accept the pivot back to professional territory. "I think Mother would love that. Let's add it to the plan." They spent another hour discussing final details for the anniversary party before Maya noticed the time. "It's getting late, and the rain has stopped. I should head home." Connor nodded, though he looked reluctant. "Of course. Thank you for staying to finalize everything." As they walked to the entrance hall, Maya's phone chimed with a weather alert. She glanced at it and frowned. "What is it?" Connor asked. "Flash flood warning. Several roads between here and Boston are already underwater." Connor immediately shook his head. "You can't drive in that." "We have plenty of guest rooms. Stay here tonight." Maya hesitated. Staying overnight at a client's home crossed all sorts of professional boundaries, but the alternative was potentially dangerous driving. "I don't have anything with me, no change of clothes, no toothbrush." "We can provide everything you need," Connor assured her. "My mother keeps guest suites fully stocked." Still, Maya wavered, and Connor seemed to read her mind. "If you're concerned about propriety, don't be. This house has 12 bedrooms. You'll have complete privacy, and my parents' staff will be back in the morning." Put that way, it seemed silly to refuse. "All right, thank you." Connor led her upstairs to a beautiful guest suite with its own sitting area and bathroom. "There should be new toiletries in the bathroom and pajamas in the dresser. My mother keeps various sizes for guests. If you need anything else, I'm at the end of the hall." "This is perfect," Maya assured him. "Thank you for your hospitality." "My pleasure. Good night, Maya." After Connor left, Maya explored the luxurious suite. The bathroom was stocked with high-end toiletries, and she found silk pajamas in the dresser that were only slightly too large. After a hot shower, she settled into the most comfortable bed she'd ever experienced. Despite her exhaustion, sleep eluded her. She kept thinking about Connor, his kindness, his obvious love for his family, the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled. And that comment about our wedding that she couldn't stop replaying in her mind. Was she developing feelings for a client? The thought was terrifying. Maya prided herself on her professionalism. Getting emotionally involved with Connor York would be a catastrophic mistake, especially with his mysterious proposal plans looming. Yet as she finally drifted off to sleep, her dreams were filled with Connor's smile and the warmth of his presence beside her. Morning arrived with sunlight streaming through unfamiliar curtains. For a moment, Maya was disoriented before remembering where she was. She checked her phone just after 7. Early enough that she could slip out without an awkward morning after scene, even though nothing had happened. She dressed quickly in yesterday's clothes, grateful she'd worn a simple black dress that wouldn't look too obviously reworn. After making the bed and ensuring the room was tidy, she quietly opened her door, hoping to make a discreet exit. Instead, she found Connor in the hallway, clearly returning from a run. His t-shirt was damp with sweat, his hair tousled, and he looked unfairly handsome for so early in the morning. "You're up," he said, sounding pleased. "I was worried you might sleep through breakfast." "I should really get going," Maya began, but Connor shook his head. "Not without breakfast. Give me 15 minutes to shower and I'll meet you downstairs." Before she could protest, he disappeared into what must be his bedroom, leaving Maya little choice but to head downstairs. In the kitchen, she found an older woman in a housekeeper's uniform preparing coffee. "You must be Miss Adams," the woman said with a warm smile. "I'm Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper. Mr. Connor said you stayed because of the flooding. I hope the guest room was comfortable." "Very, thank you," Maya replied, relieved by the woman's matter-of-fact tone. "Coffee. Mr. Connor will be down shortly. He never misses his morning run, rain or shine." "That would be wonderful." By the time Connor joined them, Mrs. Winters had prepared a breakfast spread that could have fed 10 people eggs, bacon, fresh fruit, pastries, and juice. "Mrs. Winters, you've outdone yourself," Connor said, entering the kitchen looking refreshed in jeans and a casual button-down shirt. "Just the usual, Mr. Connor." The housekeeper poured him coffee. "I'll be in the laundry room if you need anything else." Once they were alone, Connor turned his attention to Maya. "Sleep well, like a dream," she admitted. "That mattress is incredible. My mother insists on the best for guests." He loaded a plate with food and passed it to her. "The roads should be clear now, but eat first." As they ate, Maya found herself relaxing. Morning after awkwardness was apparently not part of Connor York's repertoire. "So," he said between bites, "just 3 weeks until the big day. Everything is coming together well." "Yes, I'm pleased with the progress." Maya sipped her coffee. "The custom invitations went out last week. All vendors are confirmed, and the special touches we discussed are all in production." "Excellent. And what about the other matter we discussed?" Maya knew he meant his proposal plans, which remained frustratingly vague. "You haven't given me much to work with yet." Connor studied her for a moment. "You're right. I've been intentionally withholding details." "May I ask why?" He set down his fork. "Because I'm still gauging the potential reception." "From your mystery woman." Maya tried to keep her tone light. "Yes," Connor's eyes held hers. "I need to be certain before proceeding." Something in his gaze made Maya's heart beat faster. "And how will you determine that? Time, observation, instinct?" He smiled slightly. "I'm a cautious investor by nature." Love isn't a business acquisition, Maya pointed out. No, it's far more valuable. Connor's expression turned serious. Which is why I need to be absolutely certain before I take that leap. Maya nodded, ignoring the pang of jealousy she felt toward this unknown woman. Well, when you're ready to share the details, I'll need at least a week to properly incorporate them into the weekend schedule. Understood. Connor checked his watch. I have a meeting downtown in an hour. Can I drive you back to your office? That would be helpful, thank you. The drive back to Boston was filled with comfortable conversation about final details for the anniversary celebration. Connor dropped her at her office with a promise to call later in the week about the remaining decisions. Zoe was already at her desk when Maya walked in wearing yesterday's clothes. Well, her assistant said with a smirk. Look who's doing the walk of shame. It's not what you think, Maya protested. I got caught in the flooding last night and stayed in a guest room at the York estate. Uh-huh. And did Connor York also get caught in a guest room, Zoe? Maya felt her cheeks flush. It was completely professional. He was the perfect gentleman. That's disappointing, Zoe sighed dramatically. The sexual tension between you two is off the charts. There is no sexual tension, Maya insisted, though she knew it was a lie. He's a client and apparently he's planning to propose to someone. This caught Zoe's attention. What? Connor York is engaged, not yet, but he's planning to propose during the anniversary weekend. To who? There haven't been any rumors about him dating anyone seriously. I don't know, Maya admitted. He's being very mysterious about it. Zoe's eyes widened. Oh my God. What? Maya, what if it's you? Maya laughed. Don't be ridiculous. We barely know each other. You've been working closely together for weeks, and you clearly like him. That's beside the point, Maya said, revealing more than she intended. Connor York is not planning to propose to his event planner. That would be insane. Stranger things have happened, Zoe shrugged. Just saying, if a billionaire wants to put a ring on it after knowing me for a month, I'm not asking questions. Can we please focus on work? Maya begged. We have a million details to finalize for the anniversary party. But as the days passed, Zoe's outlandish suggestion kept creeping into Maya's thoughts. Connor had become increasingly attentive, finding excuses to meet in person rather than discussing details over the phone. Each time they were together, the line between professional and personal blurred a little more. A week before the anniversary weekend, Connor invited Maya to a final site visit at the estate. When she arrived, she was surprised to find him alone. Where's the tent company representative? She asked. I thought we were doing a final walkthrough. Change of plans, Connor said with an enigmatic smile. I need your help with something else today. He led her not toward the gardens where the anniversary party would be held, but in the opposite direction, toward a part of the property she hadn't seen before. Where are we going? Maya asked as they followed a stone path through a wooded area. You'll see. After a short walk, they emerged into a clearing with a breathtaking view of the lake. In the center stood a small stone pavilion covered in climbing roses. This is beautiful, Maya gasped. My father built it for my mother on their 5th anniversary, Connor explained. It's where he gave her the eternity band she still wears alongside her wedding ring. Maya immediately understood. This is where you're planning to propose, Connor nodded. Yes, it's perfect, she admitted, trying to ignore the ache in her chest. Very romantic. I think so too. Connor guided her inside the pavilion. I'm thinking of stringing lights through the roses and surrounding it with candles. Simple but elegant. Maya nodded, slipping into professional mode despite her feelings. That would be beautiful. We could add some scattered rose petals on the ground and perhaps some soft music. Exactly what I was thinking. Connor's eyes never left her face. You understand exactly what I want. It's my job to understand, Maya said softly. Is that all it is? Your job? Connor stepped closer to her. Maya's heart raced. Connor, Miss Adams, Mr. York, a voice called from the path, interrupting whatever was about to happen. The tent company representative was approaching, waving apologetically. Sorry I'm late. The moment shattered. Connor stepped back, a flash of frustration crossing his face before his professional mask returned. No problem. We were just discussing some additional elements for the weekend. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur of logistics and planning details. Connor remained politely professional, giving Maya no opportunity to return to their interrupted moment in the pavilion. As she prepared to leave, Connor walked her to her car. Everything's coming together perfectly, Maya. Thank you. Just doing my job, she said, echoing her earlier words. Connor studied her for a long moment. The anniversary party is going to be unforgettable. That's the goal. And the proposal, his voice was softer now. Maya swallowed hard. I'm sure she'll say yes. Connor's smile was enigmatic. I hope so. As Maya drove away, she couldn't stop the tears that sprang to her eyes. She'd done the unthinkable fallen for a client who was planning to propose to another woman. How could she have been so foolish? The day of Billionaire and Philip York's anniversary celebration arrived with perfect weather, sunny and mild, exactly what they'd hoped for. Maya had been on site since dawn, overseeing the transformation of the York estate gardens into a Parisian paradise. Flower-covered arches led guests through streets lined with café tables. A scale replica of a Seine bridge crossed the property's small stream. French music played from discreetly placed speakers, and the air smelled of freshly baked bread and pastries. Maya hadn't seen Connor all day. According to Mrs. Winters, he had gone to the airport to pick up special guests, Alina's sister and brother-in-law, who were flying in from California as a surprise. As evening approached, Maya retreated to the small office she'd been given to change into her event day attire, a simple black dress that allowed her to blend into the background while remaining professional. She was applying a fresh coat of lipstick when there was a knock at the door. Come in, she called, expecting one of her staff. Instead, Connor entered, looking devastating in a perfectly tailored tuxedo. Everything looks amazing, Maya. Thank you. She tried to keep her voice steady. Your parents will be thrilled. They already are. My father just saw the garden set up and said it's exactly like the Paris they remember. Maya smiled, genuinely pleased. That's the best compliment I could receive. Connor stepped closer. I have something for you. He held out a small velvet box. Maya's heart stopped. What is this? Open it. With trembling fingers, Maya lifted the lid to reveal a delicate silver bracelet with a small Eiffel Tower charm. It's beautiful, she whispered. A thank you gift, Connor explained, taking the bracelet and fastening it around her wrist. For making my parents' celebration so special. His fingers lingered on her skin, and for everything else. Maya looked up at him, confused. Everything else. Before Connor could respond, the door opened again and Zoe stuck her head in. Maya, the first guests are arriving and Mrs. York is looking for Connor. I'll be right there, Connor told her. To Maya, he added quietly, we'll talk later. The evening progressed like a dream. Billionaire and Philip were visibly moved by the transformation of their garden and the gathering of their dearest friends and family. Maya watched from the sidelines as Connor toasted his parents, his genuine love for them evident in every word. To 40 years of showing the world what true partnership looks like, he concluded, raising his champagne. And to many more years of your extraordinary love story. The guests applauded as Philip kissed Billionaire tenderly. Maya felt a hand at her elbow and turned to find Connor beside her. Dance with me, he said quietly. I shouldn't, she protested. I'm working. Everything is running perfectly. His eyes held hers. One dance. Unable to refuse, Maya allowed him to lead her onto the dance floor where other couples were already swaying to the music. Connor's hand on her waist felt both familiar and thrilling as he guided her in a simple waltz. You've exceeded all expectations with this celebration, he told her. Thank you, it's been a labor of love. His eyes darkened at her words. Has it? Maya didn't know how to respond. They danced in silence for a moment before Connor spoke again. Tomorrow morning, he said. The pavilion at 10 o'clock. Maya's heart sank. For the proposal? Yes. His gaze was intense. Will you be there? She nodded, professional to the end. Of course, I'll make sure everything is ready. Good. Connor's hand tightened slightly on her waist. It needs to be perfect. As the song ended, he released her with obvious reluctance. I should get back to my parents. Maya watched him walk away, fighting the urge to call him back. Tomorrow he would propose to the woman he loved, and Maya would ensure it was exactly as he envisioned, no matter how much it hurt. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. The anniversary celebration was a tremendous success, with Alina and Philip clearly overwhelmed by the outpouring of love from their friends and family. When the last guest departed shortly after midnight, Maya began the process of supervising the cleanup. Leave it for tomorrow, Alina insisted, finding Maya directing the catering staff. You've created magic tonight. Go home and rest. There's still so much to do, Maya protested, and it will all be here in the morning. Alina took Maya's hands in hers. Thank you for giving us such beautiful memories. Maya smiled, genuinely touched. It was my pleasure, Alina. You know, Alina said with a knowing look, Connor has never been so involved in any family event before. Usually he writes a check and shows up when required. Maya didn't know how to respond to that. Alina patted her hand. He's a good man. Like his father, he knows quality when he sees it. Before Maya could decipher that cryptic comment, Philip appeared to escort his wife to bed, leaving Maya wondering if she had imagined the matchmaking glint in Alina's eye. Maya spent a restless night at the hotel, where she'd booked a room for the weekend. In the morning, she returned to the York estate early, needing to check that the pavilion was perfect for Connor's proposal. She had ordered the roses and candles he wanted, arranged for the music he requested, and even selected the champagne he planned to serve afterward. Everything was in place by 9:30. Maya surveyed the pavilion with professional satisfaction, even as her heart ached. The setting was undeniably romantic, roses climbing the stone columns, twinkling lights creating a magical atmosphere even in daylight, and the view of the lake providing a perfect backdrop. It's perfect, Connor's voice came from behind her. Maya turned to find him standing at the pavilion entrance, looking casual but elegant in dark slacks and a light blue button-down that matched his eyes. I was just making sure everything was ready, she explained. And it is. He stepped inside, looking around appreciatively. You've thought of everything. That's my job. Maya glanced at her watch. It's almost 10. I should go before your guest arrives. Connor caught her arm as she moved to leave. The guest is already here. Maya looked around, confused. I don't see anyone. I'm looking at her. The world seemed to stop as Maya processed his words. What are you saying? Connor took both her hands in his. Maya Adams, from the moment you walked into my mother's sunroom, I knew you were special. Working with you these past weeks has only confirmed what I somehow knew immediately. You're the woman I want to spend my life with. Maya stared at him in disbelief. But the proposal plans were always for you. Connor's eyes never left hers. I just needed time to be sure you might feel the same way. This is crazy, Maya whispered. We barely know each other. Don't we? Connor smiled. I know you take your coffee with one sugar, no cream. I know you laugh with your whole body when something truly amuses you. I know you're brilliant and kind and uncompromising about quality. I know you love what you do because you believe in creating meaningful moments for people. Tears sprang to Maya's eyes. Connor, I know this seems fast, he acknowledged. I'm not actually proposing marriage today, though I have the ring. He patted his pocket with a grin. That would be presumptuous even for me. Maya laughed through her tears, only slightly. What I am proposing is this. Connor stepped closer. Let me court you properly. No client relationship, no professional boundaries, just us, getting to know each other even better. Your parents' anniversary planner and their son, Maya mused. What will people say? That I'm the luckiest man in Boston. Connor reached up to brush a tear from her cheek. My parents already adore you, by the way. My mother has been dropping hints for weeks. That explains some cryptic comments, Maya admitted. So, Connor's expression grew serious. What do you say? Will you give us a chance? Instead of answering, Maya closed the distance between them, rising on her toes to press her lips to his. Connor responded immediately, his arms encircling her waist as he deepened the kiss. The connection between them, simmering for weeks, ignited into something powerful and undeniable. When they finally separated, both breathless, Connor rested his forehead against hers. I'll take that as a yes. Definitely yes, Maya confirmed. Connor reached into his pocket and pulled out not a ring box as she half expected, but a small envelope. I have something for you. Maya opened it to find 2 first-class tickets to Paris, dated for the following month. Paris. I thought we could start our story where my parents started theirs. Connor watched her face anxiously. Too much. Maya shook her head, happiness bubbling up inside her. It's perfect. Connor kissed her again, more gently this time. I've been planning this for weeks, you know, driving my parents crazy with all my questions about how they knew they'd found the one. And what did they tell you? Maya asked, curious. My father said, when you know, you know. Connor smiled. And my mother said the right woman would make me want to be a better man just by being herself. And do I? Every day since we met. Connor took her hand, leading her to the pavilion bench. Now, I believe we have champagne chilling and an entire day with nothing scheduled. How shall we spend it? Maya leaned against him, happier than she could remember being in years. Telling me more about this courtship you're planning. Well, Connor began, his arm around her shoulders. It starts in Paris and ends with forever. The middle parts we'll figure out together. 1 year later, Maya stood in the same pavilion where Connor had first declared his feelings. This time, however, she wore a white dress and held a bouquet of roses. Behind her, Elena adjusted her veil with tears in her eyes. Ready, my dear? Philip asked, offering his arm to walk her down the aisle where Connor waited. More than ready, Maya assured him. As she walked toward her future husband, Maya reflected on the extraordinary year that had brought her to this moment. Their trip to Paris had been magical. Connor had even managed to spill coffee on her white dress in a deliberate homage to his parents' meeting. Their courtship had been everything she could have wished for, culminating in Connor's proper proposal 6 months later, in this very pavilion. Now, on the exact weekend of Elena and Philip's 41st anniversary, Maya and Connor were beginning their own love story with the blessing of his parents and surrounded by their closest friends and family. Connor's face as she approached was a picture of love and wonder. When Philip placed her hand in Connor's, the connection between them felt stronger than ever. You look breathtaking, Connor whispered. So do you, she replied, taking in his tuxedo and his barely contained joy. The ceremony was brief but meaningful. When they were pronounced husband and wife, Connor kissed her with such tenderness that several guests audibly sighed. At the reception planned not by Maya but by Zoe, who had insisted her boss wouldn't work at her own wedding, Eleanor clinked her glass to make a toast. When Connor asked us to share the secret to 40 years of happy marriage, she began, we told him it was finding someone who makes you want to be your best self. In Maya, he has found that person, just as Philip found that in me. To Maya and Connor, may your love story be as long and as happy as ours. Later, as they danced under the stars, Connor held Maya close. Happy, completely, she assured him, though I still can't believe you were planning our wedding before we'd even started dating. Connor laughed. I prefer to think of it as optimistic preparation. Is that what you call it? I call it knowing what I wanted and making a plan to achieve it. He twirled her gently. Very on brand for me, don't you think? Very, Maya agreed. And what's your plan now, Mr. York? Now. Connor's eyes shone with love as he looked at his bride. Now we live happily ever after. I've already made all the arrangements. Maya laughed, rising on her toes to kiss her husband. Of course you have. As the celebration continued around them, Maya knew that the greatest event of her life wasn't one she had planned, but one she was living, a love story that had begun with an email and would continue for the rest of their days, filled with all the joy, partnership, and love that Connor's parents had modeled for him. And years later, when their own children asked how they met, Connor would tell them it was the easiest business acquisition of his career, while Maya would laugh and say it was the one event she couldn't have planned better herself.